Alright, I'm gonna roll right past the awkwardness of what I've already tried and just roll in. Anyway, welcome to the 50th episode of the Decompression Chamber. I'm your host, Mario. It's very nice to have you here, and I'm glad to have you on the 50th ep. In any case, our opening quote is going to be from Robin Williams' character in Good Will Hunting. And the quote goes, "People call these things imperfections, but they're not. That's the good stuff. And then we get to choose who we let into our weird little worlds. You're not perfect, sport, and let me save you the suspense. This girl you met, she's not perfect either. But the question is whether or not you're perfect for each other. That's what intimacy is all about." Roll the intro.
Wanted to meet and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at the turn of your words. Wanted to meet and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at the some little words.
Granted, I didn't give nearly as good a performance as Robin Williams did in that film. I mean, he deserved fucking about 1 trillion awards and all of that, whereas I was literally just reading it from her. But in any case, it's an amazing film, and I really like that quote. I think a lot of what there is out there in terms of like the way that relationships and human connections represented, it's so much based about what each person and the individual is, and not as much about the relationships they create together. And I think that's a nice, interesting perspective about it. I think, just like the quote says, I was having a conversation earlier today with someone about how the small little details about someone that make them unique is what makes them interesting, is what makes them like so special. Because, for example, it was in the topic of kind of like sound effects. So like, I notice in myself when I see something that like might go wrong, I'll go "ooh" or something like that. I'll make a kind of short sound. Or we were talking as well about how everybody has a different laugh. Everybody has a unique laugh, and even I myself, I have a different laugh depending on the level of amusement or the situation. I wish I could imitate my own laugh, but like it would feel very faked and not genuine. But in any case, here I am. I'm recording episode 50. There must be something weird going on with me, because I always feel like I should record these at night when there is no real reason. Maybe the next one I do, I should just do it in the middle of the day and see if I have it any better. But just watching the video about yesterday, I feel like I was coming off very antsy and very kind of... So that's why I've decided to stay sat down for this episode. Maybe because I'm lazy as well. But yeah, I hope I'm catching you a good time, good morning, afternoon, whatever. It's been a really nice day. It's bloody hot these days, and that's the thing, is that most of the time that it's cold, I'm praying for this time, and yet most of the time when it's hot, I'm trying to avoid the heat. It's a funny thing. I always tell my friends that it's extremely unlikely that I'm at the temperature I want to be. I'm always slightly off. Either I'm either too hot or too cold, or well, I guess there's no alternative. Being right on is hard to find. So yeah, it's kind of weird being like, I don't know, most early part of the summer I've experienced like back at home, and you're used to seeing the way things change from like winter to summer in terms of like the view looks different, what sunsets look like, just like seeing the city that you've lived in your whole life with a backdrop to sun instead of backdrop to mostly clouds is pretty much the same. But because the time that I've been here this is the first summer I've had in Salisbury, kind of seeing the weather and the kind of the light blossom throughout the year has been very nice. But yeah, because I think I was antsy because I felt like I didn't want to leave dead air last episode. Filming these videos is one of those things where the more practice you get, the better you get. So I'm hoping that if I just kind of try and stay calm, stay composed, and just talk about what I want to talk about, then not only will I enjoy it more, I think I'll get across what I'm trying to say. But I made myself a couple of little prompts on my post-it notes. But yeah, kind of funny thing happened to me recently. There's this song by the Spin Doctors called Two Princes. It's kind of like a beach kind of rock. I don't know why I call it beach rock, but it's that kind of 90s kind of very like punchy kind of rock. And the song has literally sewn itself into my DNA and will not escape. Like, I feel like I hear that song in my brain when I'm about to go to sleep, because I love it so much. It's just such a good song. And it was recommended to me by my friend Alfie, and he's kind of into rock music and shit. And well, he's more into indie, but he also does like rock music. And yeah, just as soon as as soon as I've been listening to the song and kind of got into it, I listened to the whole Pocket Full of Kryptonite album from the Spin Doctors, which is amazing, by the way. And it's kind of weird, because normally, like, the way that I will take recommendations of music is like, I'll be in a social situation with someone, and then like you hear the song, and you're like, oh, I like this song. What's it called? But like, it felt kind of strange for me to pop up to him and message, just be like, I like this song, but also just tell me what I should listen to get like a similar effect, songs that are in that same vein. And obviously Alfie was perfectly happy to do so, and was actually very helpful and encouraging about me, getting more interested into that side of music. But yeah, it's always kind of I described it to him like I was a sleeper agent, because it's always kind of been sewn into me to a certain extent. I think my music taste was greatly influenced by like my dad's music taste, because like oftentimes when we'd be like listening to music in the car when we were younger, it would be his music. So it'd be like the first two Arctic Monkeys albums have pretty much like, they were the first kind of music that I properly knew about. Like not properly knew about, but like it was the first music that I can properly remember me actively liking and wanting to listen to. I'd say is that and it's to the point where even at a very, very young age, I remember knowing the songs and the music of the first two albums so well that like it was just ingrained into me. And like now I don't think that it will ever leave me, and I don't want it to, because it's fucking good. Especially Arctic Monkeys' first album, whatever people say that's what I'm not, is in my opinion the best album there is and will ever be. But that's not an objective statement, it is an opinion. Alright, so those of you who comment will fucking not get at me. But in any case, the music that I listen to is kind of a bit of a mix, but for whatever reason I haven't been listening to as much kind of like rock or indie music recently, and now it looks like I'm gonna open up my taste again. And I've been talking about with a different friend about the idea of doing like a music detox, which is where like you don't listen to music for 2 weeks, like at all, like in any situation. And it means that when you listen to music again, it's like, because your body's not like, I guess maybe you build up like a tolerance, maybe, or like your body releases serotonin, I imagine, when you listen to music, or some kind of brain chemical that's like, yay, dance to the music, fucking little cymbal monkey. But I guess what I'd say is that maybe because you haven't listened to music for 2 weeks, you get that sudden rush, and maybe it's not that you get more of a rush, it's just because you haven't had it for the past 2 weeks, it feels more intense or something. But the more that we discussed and thought about it, it's like, so you can't listen to music at a party or like in a TV show or in a film, like, so what do you just fucking walk around with earplugs in, and just anytime you hear music you just run away from the person playing it? It's not really, I don't think you could really be that strict unless you were controlling your circumstances very carefully. But it's still an interesting thought to me, and maybe I can apply that kind of thinking in some way or another. But yeah, for some reason that just seemed like an anecdote I wanted to speak about. And I already picked that one up. Oh, kind of similar topic actually, except I wasn't the sleeper agent. Actually, that's not a really good example. Basically, another concept I wanted to speak about was like, it kind of links back to the thing I was talking about with relationships at the start of the the opening quote. There's some people in my life where it's like I've met them and I've instantly bonded or had a connection where I'm like, I instantly know that like this is someone who I'm going to get on with, and like, there's potential for a healthy future relationship there, whether it be a friendship or like just someone who I'm working with on a film project where I'm like, oh yeah, this person is a very good colleague to be working around and stuff like that. Whereas I think there's some people where it's like, initially my reaction to meeting them is kind of like a neutral, or like it's not something that like is immediately brought to my attention, like, wow, this is someone who's really worth kind of investing, like trying to like get to know them and kind of have them get to know you and form that bond. And but it doesn't always stay that way, is the thing, is that I've experienced that some of those people where you meet them and it's just kind of like, oh, they're a nice person, it's pleasant, but it doesn't have that much like overall effect on you, on the way that you see them. And then like suddenly it's months down the line, and you can't imagine your life without them being there in some way, you know. Like I guess the way I think about it a lot is with the friends that I have at uni, is because I only met them last September, you know. And like I think about some people in my social group, and I'm like, if we weren't friends anymore, it would ruin me. Like, it just would. And so, not in the sense that like I wouldn't be able to live anymore. I just mean like those friendships are so important to me now, and they will be for a long time. And I appreciate them so much because it's like it makes me aware of the potential that people have to bring you happiness, and for you to be able to bring them happiness, you know, in some way or another, you'd hope. And like, I think to a certain extent, once I've got to that point, I try and be vocal as I can about how much I appreciate the people in my life, because I am so lucky. There are so many people in my life who make me feel privileged to know them, and privileged to be connected to them in some way or another. And I think every relationship you have with each individual in your life is unique and different, and I think not only can you celebrate like the bond that you have, but also like the individual kind of relation, the unique dynamic that you have between you and them. Like the friend who recommended me music that I was talking about earlier, Alfie, him and I have often bonded about our tendency to have awkward interactions in one way or another. Like, for example, I was introduced to my friend's girlfriend earlier today, and that was all fine and pleasant. And then as I was like walking away, I was like, "Oh, it was nice to meet you." And my friend's girlfriend, she said, "Oh, thanks." No, she said, "You too," or something like that. And then I just went, "Thanks." And then I kind of walked away. And it wasn't even that bad, but like immediately afterwards, like my friend Alfie was taking the piss out of me for it. More so because I kind of like, I cringed at my own like reaction, but it was just one of those things where it's an innocuous kind of interaction, but somehow I found a way to make myself feel awkward about it, and just the fact that we can relate and have kind of told stories to each other about those kind of situations. It brings us closer, and it's because we have like this unique common fucking, I wouldn't call it an interest or an endeavor. It's more just happenstance, innit? But yeah, no, I think it's just curious. And yeah, I mean, the last post-it note that I had, wait, is it? Nah, alright, fuck that post-it note. I'll talk about it another day. But yeah, kind of a weird situation. Not really, but I was just talking to my friend earlier today about how like what I don't think gets talked about enough is how like when someone, like just in general, when there's someone who's unpleasant in your life, it's not just the unpleasant things they do, it's the threat of what they could do that is also bad. Like, not necessarily the threat in terms of like the immediate like threat of danger or harm, but it's like when you spend time around someone and you're like expecting and you're waiting for that thing, it's like you're not just doing damage in the thing that you do, you're doing damage by having this like negative expectation weigh on like the people surrounding you, you know. And what I wrote on my poster note is that the threat is worse than the execution, which is dramatic because I stole it from a guy's chess videos. I was watching a guy and he said like he was talking about chess, but I thought it kind of related to this situation where sometimes the damage that you do isn't just in the thing you do, but in what surrounds it as well. I don't know whether that makes sense, but like, for example, me and another friend were talking about like someone in our lives who's like very kind of back and forth, complicated, like where they could be saying something nice to you, or they could be saying something like, you know, very unpleasant, but it'd be in the same tone and they'd be approach you in the same demeanor. And so it's that unpleasant unpredictability is often just as bad, if not worse, than the actual unpleasantness of their being. But yeah, so I guess think about what you say, and also think about the way in which you say it, because I try to, and I don't know whether it works. But yeah, anyway, this has been a pretty good episode, I feel. I don't know. Get back to me and have a good whatever. Thank you very much.
Couldn't care in the least. My cap on for the shade. I don't wanna give myself no option, so I drop the visor just to wake up. Ain't no tripping over pay stubs. Ain't no tripping on the vague stuff. All the things that I can make up. I'm a thinker, not a maker. Wait. Cap on for the shade. I don't wanna